Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn 3 super awesome advanced XLOOKUP examples. So let's get started. The first example is related to XLOOKUP with wildcard search. I will tell you first what the normal user uses a wrong strategy to solve this particular example and what is the corrective measure or correct way of doing it. We will also look at the alternate approach. There could be many alternate approaches, not just one method of solving the scenario, but we will be comparing it with normal functions as well as power query as well. We have then next example in which we have another complex data which we will solve through by XLOOKUP nesting of TEXTSPLIT and TEXTJOIN functions. Then we have another example which is based on again XLOOKUP with REGEXTEST nested in this example. Okay, so let's get started. In the very first example, we have a data into a table format. So as you can see on top table design, the name of this table is data. Okay, so this table has two columns, names and the organization. Now the names are more than one in each of the cell. In certain cells there is just one name. So technically Salim, Munir and Ali is working in the same organization, that is HBL. Similarly Faisal and Kareem are working at the DHL, and then Saad, Ahmad and Faizan are working at Unilever. Now what I need is I need to fetch the information from the data that Kareem is working in which organization, okay, and likewise Munir is working in which organization. So if I go with a simple XLOOKUP method like equals to XLOOKUP, the lookup value is the available information, that is the name of the employee, right? Then comma lookup array. Now where this name is being located, so I know that this is being located in the data table names column, and as you know that this is a structure format. Then return array, what we return as an name of the organization, so again from the data table organization column. And let's say if I close the bracket, so it does not return any name of the organization, whereas we know that Kareem is being working at DHL, so it should be DHL here. Okay, and similarly if I copy and paste this particular function, so only the Ashraf who is working at the UBL is being shown here, because XLOOKUP here, this is the basic XLOOKUP, is basically exactly matching because there is just one name in here. If I add another name like Danish, so now Ashraf is also not recognized that where he is working because there are now two names. So particularly, I mean, I just need one name at a one time here. What happens is, let me undo this. Okay, so I hope now you know the reason. This is not a basic XLOOKUP example. So what we need is, because Kareem is being presented either inside a cell on the very left side or a middle of that cell or at the very right side, it could be present anywhere inside the cell. So I need to use the static sign, which is a wildcard search for use in the XLOOKUP, and then I can get my result. So how am I going to do that? So let's start equals to XLOOKUP. Now I need to modify my lookup value, so I will add a static within the inverted commas. Okay, remember that the static sign will come with the inverted commas. Then ampersand sign. Then I will go to the lookup value, which is F6, the name of the employee. Then again I will add another ampersand and another static sign within the inverted commas. Now what does this mean? This means that we are now finding the Kareem either anywhere inside the cell, either in it's on the left side or in the right side. So it's basically finding wherever this particular value is available inside the cell. Okay, then lookup array will be again this particular range. Then return array will be organization range. Okay, and let's close the bracket. Now what happens? Now again I could not achieve my desired organization name. Now what happens that I was unable to achieve that particular result. Why? Because now another thing you need to see, that we have an optional argument which is called match mode. So by default on the backend it uses exact match, that is 0. Now, because we are using the wildcard search in our lookup value, we need to also define that we need to search the wildcard character match, that is 2. So we need to write 2 here. And now you can see that Kareem has been found in this particular range wherever it was available, and it's returning the organization name. And similarly, when I copy and paste downwards, I can get all the people organization names very easily. So this was the scenario of wildcard search. Okay, now there could be many methods available, but I also need to show you the Power Query thing here as well. Now, for example, I have this data, and you know that I was using a basic XLOOKUP, and that was not fetching the desired results, right? So what I can do is, I know that this particular data is already in a table format, so I can go to the data, and here I can click on from table or range. That will open Power Query editor, right? Okay, so in the Power Query editor, what I will do is, in the names columns, I will right click here and I will say split column by delimiter. And here I know that I will select a delimiter as custom and comma space. So because each of the name is being separated with a comma space as a delimiter, so I used comma space. I will select each occurrence of the delimiter, which is right. I will expand the advanced option, and I want to split into not into the columns but into the rows. Okay, and I will click OK at the bottom. So what happens now, I got a list of names in each of the individual row, and on the next column I can see the organization name as well very easily. Okay, so what I can do is, I can go to the home tab, click close and load to, and post it to the existing worksheet. The names will be here. Alright, so we got the data here, modified data here through Power Query. And what I can do is, if I want to use the normal XLOOKUP scenario, now my work will be very much easier. So you can see that equals to XLOOKUP, lookup value, lookup array, right? Then return array, and let's close the bracket. And if I copy and paste this downwards, so see that now here in this situation my normal XLOOKUP is working, because now the structure of my data is very different, because I have transformed this particular raw data into a Power Query, and then my data is being normalized in a tabular format, and I can use the normal XLOOKUP rather than in the previous example. If I don't want to go to the Power Query, I want to have this particular data, so I have to use the wildcard search in this kind of scenario. So there could be an alternative approaches how you make your work easier by using the modern Excel features. Either it could be dynamic array formulas, or it could be Power Query and then a relevant function to it. So I hope you understand this first example. Alright, so now in the second use case, we have again a data, and the name of the table is data3. Okay, so you can define any table name which you would like to. I have defined data3 as this data name. So we have two columns, names and the units. Now let's say Salim, if I need to check that how many units Salim has, is 500. Similarly, Munir has 600 units, Rahim has 1000 units, right? Then again Kareem has 522 units, Ahmed has 6548 units. So if I need to fetch a certain employee number of units, so how I gonna achieve this result? So again, first I will do it in a wrong way, so that you can learn and identify what is the correct way of doing that. So if I start using equals to XLOOKUP, this is my lookup value, right? Then lookup array, where this name is in the data3 table names column. Okay, so that is the structured reference. Again, the return array, from where I need to fetch the results from the units column, right? And I will close the bracket. So that will not give me basically the desired result which I wanted. As we discussed in the previous example, if you remember, right, we use the wildcard search here. So in this particular example, if I still go with something like a wildcard, so let's say I will put static sign, ampersand sign, then F6, which is the name of the employee, and again ampersand and static. Now you know that what this entire portion means, that we are finding F6 wherever it is located inside the cell, either it's on left side, center, or right side. Okay, now when I close the bracket and press enter, it's still not giving me that result, because I told you that whenever you use wildcards, you need to do another thing, is that you need to define the match mode. Okay, so we are using wildcards, so we'll write 2 here. Now the results are fetched from the data, but what happens that I can get 3 different unit numbers for in the name of Salim, and that is not true, because Salim only holds 500 units, so I just need 500 here. Similarly, if I write a name of Ahmad, so it is giving me all the results from this particular column. So it's able to find the name, but it's giving all the results for other employees as well, which I don't want. So I hope this is clear to you, that in this particular example, this wildcard search will not work here, because in the previous example we have multiple names but just one result, but here we have multiple names in one cell and multiple different results according to that person. So this technique will not work here, we need to modify it. Okay, now again, as I told, that there could be many possible ways of doing the solutions in the Excel, because it's a very creative application. People come up with very smart solutions, but one of the easiest solution which many of us can understand easily, I am just mentioning here in this video, is why not I normalize the data like this. Either I can use Power Query or I can use the dynamic array formula. So what I need is, I need to basically split all the names and all the unit into a different row for each of the record, like this. Let me tell you. So I'm using the dynamic array formulas approach. So first I will use TEXTJOIN function. Why TEXTJOIN? Because I need to join all these names as in a one cell. Okay, so the first argument of the TEXTJOIN is the delimiter. So I will use inverted commas, comma space will be the delimiter, then ignore empty. Okay, let's move to the next argument, text1. So I will select the entire range of the names column. Okay, and let's close the bracket. Now what happens here, that all these names has been joined together with a comma space as a delimiter in a one cell. Okay, now what I will do is, I know that there is a common delimiter is comma space. Now I need to transform in such a way that it should be as a vertical in a column. Okay, so what I will do is, I will add another, or I will nest another function, that is TEXTSPLIT. Okay, the text argument will remain the same. I will go at the end. Then there is no column delimiter I need, so I need to split them as a raw delimiter, and I know that the comma space is the delimiter to split them. Now what I got is, I got a list here. So see the difference here. We have the multiple name is each of the cell. What we did is, we did first the TEXTJOIN to join all the names together, and then split with a comma space as a delimiter. Okay, so we get a list in a column. Similarly, we'll do the same for the units as well. Let me show you. This is just for the idea. We will nest that particular concept inside the VLOOKUP, or sorry, XLOOKUP. Okay, here we'll not put the names, but instead the units column. Okay, so now you can see Salim has 500 units, Munir has 600, Rahim has 1000. So we got the data normalized. Okay, we can do such things in the Power Query as well. You can try it out, but I'm trying to resolve it with the dynamic array formulas. Alright, so now what I will do here is, let me drag it to the right side. Okay, so I will start using equals to XLOOKUP. This is my lookup value, comma. Now lookup array. So I will not select this particular range. Okay, I will not select this particular range, but I will select this range. So instead of selecting the range from here, what I can do, the logic inside the cell, I can copy and paste it here. Okay, so let me copy this entire logic, Control C, So I'm telling you each of the step. I'm not editing my video, just you to understand it easily that how you're gonna do it. Otherwise you will find trouble in doing it. Okay, so that happens. All right, then comma return array. Return array would be these unit numbers. Okay, so again let's copy and paste. So let me copy this logic and let's paste here return array, and let's close the bracket. All right, so let me delete this. This was just for the understanding. So let me correct the format of this cell. Okay, now see that this is not a number, because if I check is number, that returns false, because we have successfully fetched the number of units for the Ahmad, but this is not as a number. So what we can do is we can add a value function at the very beginning, and let's close the bracket at the end to make it as a value now. Okay, all right, so now if I change the name, for example Munir, so it returns 600 here, which is absolutely correct. And if for example Faizan, so I can do it here as well, Faizan. So see, this was the scenario where we have used the value function, the XLOOKUP, and then we have normalized the data with the help of TEXTJOIN and TEXTSPLIT functions for lookup array and return array separately. Okay, now you can do this similar kind of thing. You can normalize with the Power Query as per your choice, but this is one of the common scenario where people find out difficult to handle. Alright, so in this third situation, there is again very interesting situation. Let's understand this. Now I have a bank statement and I have three columns, dates, amount, and description. Okay, and what I required is to fetch the dates from the bank statement based on two scenarios. The first is the name of the vendor and then the amount. And I need that particular date here with the help of XLOOKUP. Now first I will do it in a wrong way so that you can understand and then correct, and then the next right method how we can resolve this. First thing is that this particular bank statement is being converted again into a table format, and the name of the table is data underscore. Okay, so don't get confused. This is not a function, this is just a structure format, name as table data underscore. Now let me highlight the first scenario so that you can understand easily. Let me choose here this color. Okay, now in the first scenario we have a vendor called UBL, right? Now if I see my bank statement description column, so we have the first transaction of UBL here, and then second, and this is the third one. So the first transaction, UBL SMS facility charges held on 8th of May. The second is paid to UBL charges, that is 19th of May, and then UBL SMS facility charges 21st of May. Okay, now what if I start using normally XLOOKUP, so equals to XLOOKUP my lookup value, then lookup array, so this is the lookup array, and then return array is the dates column, and let's close the bracket. Now this will return, because you know that UBL is not exactly available inside any of the cell, because it could be either on the left side or a middle of the cell or on a right side, so it could be present anywhere. So we need to use the static as a wildcard search, so you know that. So let's put it quickly. Static within the inverted commas ampersand, then B6, again ampersand, then static sign, and you know that we have to also define the match mode as well, which is 2, right? So the match mode is 2, bracket close. Now what happens is it returns the date, okay, which is 8th of May, but is it the correct date? As you can see here, this is returning that, because we are using XLOOKUP, and what it does, it's basically going from upwards to downwards, and when the first match of UBL this XLOOKUP finds, it returns that particular date, which is our requirement is that the vendor should be a UBL and the amount should be 800. If these two scenarios are correct, then that particular date I need from the data. And if I closely look at these conditions, so I need to find UBL with the amount of 800. So it should return 19th of May, not the 8th of May. So I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to tell you. Let me highlight another scenario. So if I go with the Microsoft, for example, Microsoft, and I can see the Microsoft transaction here as well and here as well, right? But when I use this particular function, let me click here and copy and paste that. So it returns 18th of May. Now, if I draw here, let's say, so I can find the Microsoft, I mean the XLOOKUP, find that, and it returns 18th of May here, which is absolutely wrong because the Microsoft was the requirement, but also the amount, which is of 5,000. So if I look at here, 5,000 Microsoft, and that is 20th of May should be there. So I hope you understand this scenario. Let me remove these all extra workings. Okay. All right. So this is the challenge which we face normally in this kind of situation where we have two certain requirements. So that could be technically wrong here. So this formula will not work here. I hope you understand this. Okay. So what is the correct way of doing it is, that is a case of regex match. So if you see XLOOKUP very carefully, you can find the match mode different types, where you can find at number 3 it's showing you regex max. Okay, so we have a couple of different ideas. What I will be doing here is I will use XLOOKUP with REGEXTEST as a function here. Okay, how we can do that? So XLOOKUP, what will be our lookup value? The lookup value will be 1 here. Now what is 1? It basically means true. I can also write true here, or I can use 1 here. So in the lookup array, I will be defining the two criterias multiplying with each other, and the backend there will be true or false will be generating. And when the both matches will be true at the backend, so it will return that true value from the return array. Okay, so let me show you how. So I will be using two brackets, two round brackets. So I will pick the first cell, which is the amount in C6, which is 800. If this is equal to from this particular column, so what happens at the backend, if 800 matches the amount in any of the raw record, it will generate true at the backend or 1 at the backend. Okay, so this is the first criteria. Then multiply it with REGEXTEST. So if you are using the latest Excel version, Excel 365, so you will find this function REGEXTEST. So the text, the first argument will be the description column, then patron is the name of the vendor, and we'll use case insensitive match. Okay, there are two options available, case sensitive match by default, and then one for case insensitive match. So we'll go with that. Then close the bracket of this function, and then comma return array. What we are required is the date column, so we'll select that and then close the bracket, and let's copy and paste this. So if I now explain it to you from here, so as you can see, so we have the UBL and 800 amount, so 800 UBL, and it's returning 19th of May, which is absolutely fine, correct. Similarly for the Google with 1500, that's 1st of May. So Google is there, Google is also here, but not with 2500. We are looking with 1500, that is 1st of May, and it will return the exactly same correct date with the two different criteria. So that's how we handle this situation with the help of XLOOKUP and REGEXTEST. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Do share it with your colleagues, and if any other challenge regarding the data extraction from the XLOOKUP or reference functions you would like to ask, you can comment below. Thank you.